guy last night in Kryptonite. As soon as he approached me, he goes, "Hey man," and he instantly like had like a rapport with me because I was real laid back. We started laughing, and he started telling me that he says, "Man, every time I come here," he says, 9 times out of 10, it's I get kicked out. I said, "Why do you get kicked out, man?" He goes, "Because," I says, I'm always looking for trouble, man." He says, "I always want to start a fight with somebody, man. Every time I come in here." I said, "But that's not even your nature." I said, "I can tell right now that you have a kind heart." He pauses. He goes, "Yeah, I do have a kind heart." He said, "I like to be an asshole. I like to play an asshole role." I said, "Get." I said, "Who falls for this, man?" He goes, "People do all the time, man. They get all upset and pissed." He says, I'll try somebody, and if I can emotionally get them upset, I win. You know, we start fighting, whatever. I get my adrenaline rush. I take energy from it." That's exactly what he told me. He says, "I end up getting kicked out of here." He says, "Who's the owner of the club?" And I told him, he says, "Yeah, he kicked me out all the time, man. He's the first one to come get me because he knows what I'm going to do. And I try to beat him to it. I try to get somebody before he kicks me out." I said, "What?" I said, "Dude, why do you do this?" I said, "You like you're just the sweetest guy in the world." He goes, "I am, man." He says, "That's just my thing, man. I get a kick out of it."
He's following his bliss.
Yeah, that's it. He says, "I get a rush out of it." He says, "I get a rush, man. I want that adrenaline." He kept saying the whole night, "I want that adrenaline, man. I want that. Come on, man." He says, "Look, I'm going to go to another part of the club and I'm going to start fighting, man. I ain't going to do it around your area, man." I'm like, "Nah, man." I said, "Calm down, man."
I do the same thing on Facebook.
He got kicked out 5 minutes after he's told me that. You ain't got to fight the other side.
Damn. Yep. It's just the internet.
It's just the internet. It's not that serious.
But well, the thing is, the thing I learned about that group is they like to talk about how well-meaning they want to be about the things they talk about, but most of the time it's just complaints about them not getting their way because they thought they were doing something right. You know, it's like they couldn't believe that they didn't know this before. You know, it's like, you know, then it goes back to that reality of, well, if I knew now what I'd do then. Well, that doesn't make any damn difference unless you can time travel.
Right? Yeah. That pissed him off. That comment right there pissed him off.
And of course, you know, I'll share a little bit of my shit here and there. I don't expect any of them to catch on or believe any of it. Right. But the few that do, you know, are just the few that do. But most of the time, most of the so-called wisdom that they try to share in there is generic plagiarism from someone else's shit.
Yeah, definitely. They're just stealing.
You know, and I've seen and I've read all the books, you know, before the boom of the internet. So I still remember all those old titles. But other than that, I mean, the game is really easy to read on the internet, even just from the way they type their words alone.
Oh yeah. Everybody exposes themselves, especially on Facebook is the great bearer of truth. Mm-hmm. Everybody reveals himself, especially in emotional states of mind. It really comes out. They capitalize the big OMG exclamation point. Such and such happened to me, and they won't name the person that affected them, but they'll say, "Yeah, and they did this to me, and this and this and that, and you just wait." I'll be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, they think that they can just throw some familiar tokens out there for someone else to light up at.
Yeah, I can agree with them. Like, yeah, I know how you feel.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, if you're equal on that level, cool, go ahead and enjoy yourself.
All right. I always want to, but I never do. But my first impulse is like, "What are you talking about? If you're gonna, don't tell me half of the story. Tell me all of the story, and that way I can have a better frame of mind. I'm gonna get the whole story from every other page of the book I read. It don't make no sense."
Shit.
It's really funny when the person that they're referring to gets on that thread. And they start going at each other back and forth. And finally somebody, a light goes off. People are like, oh.
I leave no hints. I just go straight to the point.
Straight to the juggler.
Yep.
Yeah, you're a juggler, man.
And the first thing that always comes up is an emotional reaction.
Yeah, you like the fire. You love lighting the fire.
You know, and yeah, I have to. I mean, it's important for me to test these people on the way they end up, responding or reacting with, to see who's still using their brain.
Huh?
You know, to see, see who's still using their minds when certain words when certain words are read, that can that might be able to trigger maybe some bit of intelligence there left in there or lack of. And it's not always just the direct statement of my sentence that's really saying the message there, because that's just the surface front, even though that might really mean to say something too.
Right.
It's I like worming a little way to get under their skin where they can really feel what I'm saying then.
Oh yeah. You make statements like not even at the beginning of the thread. You insert yourself like in the middle or the beginning when the thread's starting to really develop. You'll direct it, and you'll throw a phrase in there that makes people think a minute. They have to like, wait a minute, what did he say? And then they think of the different levels of what you just said. And then the ones who get inflamed about it, of course, have an immediate emotional response, and then that's when all the fun happens.
Or the ones that ride with it, they'll try to convert themselves to philosophical and not acknowledge the source that they got it from. It's still a big attention game. They always want credit for something.
And they always want to make a point. They want to make their point known.
Yep.
Have to get their point known. Even after somebody's already made their point and they've acknowledged the other person's point, they still got to get theirs. Well, still though, I understand what you're saying. It makes perfect sense, but go to Google this. You can see what I'm talking about.
Snopes this.
Snopes.
Fucking Snopes.
Snopes.
Yeah. Like the Snopes says this. What do you say? What do you know?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you know?
That's like people say what the Bible say. What are you gonna say about it? What the Bible say? I say, okay, but what do you have to actually say about it?
I mean,
What's your viewpoint?
it's like I already know what you believe, but what do you know?
Bingo.
It's like, how do you know that your belief is going to let you know?
Oh yeah. It's like my neighbor yesterday. What you just said, man, it flashed me back immediately to me and him. We were talking, and he's having a. If you see this video, he's gonna know exactly what I'm talking about him. But he's struggling with the spirit of alcoholism. It's been not getting progressive, and then he quit for like a month. But I already knew after he quit, I said it's only a matter of time before he has a relapse, man. And soon, it's like a month passed, and then he knocks on my door. And as soon as he knocks on my door, I was meditating. I instantly knew he was intoxicated just by the way he knocked. So I opened the door up, and he has a glass sitting on the chair and everything. I could smell it. I'm like, I knew it, man. I knew it. He goes, I know. That's why I came over here, man. I'm like, come on, man. So, he's having a rough time with it. I said, well, it's going to be a back and forth process till you decide to actually leave it alone. But while we were actually talking, he brings up where he says, I know I'm secure in everything I do. I said, why? He says, because Jesus is with me. I said, Jesus can't be with you. He said, yeah, I believe it. I said, you believe it, but do you know it? I said, how can Jesus be with you and you're full of alcohol? I said, you're full of alcoholic spirits. You can't be full of Jesus. What are you talking about? He thought about it. He goes, damn.
He's full of Bacchus.
That made sense. Yeah, he said, that made a lot of sense. I said, okay, so quit saying that quit believing it and just know it. He actually sobered up for a minute. He was drunk as hell though. He had drank a fifth. This is a dude who he drinks a fifth just so he won't shake. That's how physically addicted he is to alcohol. He'll physically shake if he doesn't have a fifth. And when he got off for that month, he went to a doctor. They gave him some medicine like Valium or whatever to kind of get him past that stage.
He might need more than a month there.
He's gonna need more than a month. Yeah, he needs some psychological counseling.
He needs some sun gazing.
Yeah, that would help. That's the best psychological counseling he can get, but he'll have to make it in stages. He sees what I'm doing, but he doesn't understand it.
Or at least convert his belief in Jesus to the metaphor of Jesus as the sun.
That would be a good one. That would be a way to probably get him to stare in the sun gaze. And I'm actually talk to him and see where he goes with that. That might actually work. That might actually work. That would change his life.
That's basically what it is. I mean, Jesus is pretty much like when he was a man living on earth, was essentially the living incarnation of the Son, or the Son's consciousness, or beyond that.
Yeah,
Who knows?
Buddha, Leo Zoo, all those guys.
Quetzalcoatl, and all those cats. And then everyone else that claims it. All those other sun cults.
There's so many, like Jesus, was he real? Was he a legend? It doesn't really matter at this point. He's an archetype of a certain type of consciousness, so it doesn't really matter if he was real on this plane or not.
He's not the Bible, Jesus.
Nah. You got to go outside the Bible to get the truth. There is some truth in the Bible, but you have to find the truth outside it to verify.
It's all in between the lines, and it's behind the veils of the emotional impulse triggered from those words that you read.
Oh yeah, so many people attach to emotion with it is emotion with religion. There's no logic behind it. They get mad when you try to think logically. So it's beyond
because
logic.
the Bible's actually encoded for two things. It's geared for those who take it literally,
Right.
as enslavement. As like an enslaved monkey.
Deaf, dumb, and blind.
And for those that can read between the lines of it, that can actually crack some of their codes, it enlightens them.
That's all a matter of consciousness. So it goes back to who's awake and who's asleep. Everybody sees the same thing, and that's a different viewpoint. Basically. I love me some Frankie Frank. Frankie Frank was off the chain, man. He was a fan of plasma ultrafiltrate.
Let's smoke the shit.